In terms of some of the movies and projects that inspire you today, what would you like to be working on right now? I mean, if you had the choice, what would you be working
My background is a lot of animation. As I said, I've been down here for like 16 years. Been very infused in the animation community. I love it. I love the people. I love the the involvement that you have on an animated film. You you really get it. You really get your hands dirty, down to the point that you can help the director direct some scenes, create camera, create setups, really sculpt the film in very unique and wonderful ways. That being said, I've also dabbled in live action films. Live action are very different from animation. It creates a different sense of thinking that you have to deal with. You have to kind of think outside the box with the materials that you're given. You really have to figure that puzzle out. Whereas in animation, if you're stuck in a box trying to work a scene out, you can easily just call the layout artist and go, give me a shot like this. Set the camera this way. Let's do this. Let's set up let's set the actors like this. Let's get this to work this way. The field's wide open for me. I'd really be doing both.
Okay, and in terms of some of the challenges, okay, so you mentioned like some of the story issues, shall we say, that may come up during the course of editing. What are some of those skills that you think are important, whether it's animation or live action?
Well, it's you always have to be able to pull yourself out of it. When you're in the cutting room, when you're on the Avid, it's so you really get infused in what you're doing that you can easily lose sight of what's happening and how one thing is going to affect the next scene, or how it's going to affect the outcome. Um, you really have to know how to pull yourself out of the picture for 5 seconds. Give yourself a bit of a rest. I've worked on some films that I've actually had the luxury to uh, put the film on a shelf for a matter of 3 or 4 months, and then walk back to pull it down with the director and the producer, sit down, watch it with them, and with a fresh pair of eyes, rested eyes, you spot like a billion things that are wrong, or you need to go and repatch. And that was the case in some documentaries that I've done recently as well. You would have that time to sit, think about it, stew about it, and get back. That, I think, is like the most important thing, though, in a cutting room, is that you have to be able to like step back for a moment, look at everything with a fresh pair of eyes, and realize where your story is going and what journey you're taking it on. It also helps when you pace everything out in your room. I always have a board set up somewhere in my room that has each of the pieces of the film, each part of the film, laid out like a puzzle, just kind of look in there. And sometimes I don't even look at the Avid. I will walk over to the board and I'll just like stare at it and go, you know what? In my mind, I know what each of these cards represent. But if I take this card, move it here, this card, move it here, this card, move it here, that could be a big cut initially, and it'll save a lot of time rather than diving into the computer and getting lost in your timeline.
Well, terrific. Well, thank you again. Greatly appreciate the time and effort, and it's been a great pleasure to hear about your experiences and your insights into the film industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.